Ever heard the one about the golden goose of retirement? You know, the one where you can crack open your nest egg just right so it lasts forever? Well, buckle up, because we're diving into the saga of the 4% withdrawal rule, the financial fairy tale that's both beloved and beleaguered. Imagine you've got $1 million socked away for the golden years. The 4% rule says you can take out 40 grand in the first year, adjust for inflation, and do it all over again each year, living the dream for 30 years without touching the principal. Sounds like magic, right? This enchanting rule was hatched in 1994 by a financial wizard named William Bengen. His research was like using a crystal ball with historical data from 1926 to 1976, looking at how stocks and bonds danced together over time. Bengen concluded that even in the darkest economic times, your retirement funds could play the long game with this 4% strategy. But here's where the plot thickens. Even fairy tales have their critics. For starters, the world has changed since the 90s. Interest rates have plummeted, making bonds less of the safe haven they once were. Inflation? Well, it's like that unpredictable dragon that can either snooze or wake up with a fiery appetite. Then there's the longevity issue. People are living longer, which means that nest egg needs to stretch further than ever. Bengen's rule was crafted for a 30-year retirement, but what if you're planning to live to 100 or beyond? Suddenly, 4% starts to look a bit like Cinderella's pumpkin at midnight. And let's not forget market volatility. The 4% rule assumes a somewhat stable economic climate, but we've all seen markets that swing like a pendulum in a storm. If you start your retirement during a bear market, you might be eating into your capital faster than your investments can replenish it. What was once a safe strategy could turn into a gamble. So what do the modern-day financial sages say? Some say the 4% rule is outdated, recommending a more conservative 3% or even 3.3% in today's climate. Others suggest a dynamic approach, adjusting withdrawals based on market performance. Think of it as adjusting your sails with the wind, rather than setting a course and hoping for the best. But not everyone's throwing out the rule book. Some experts argue that with tweaks, like a diversified portfolio or using annuities, the 4% rule can still work. They point to recent studies suggesting that in certain asset allocations, the 4% rule might still be viable with a high probability of success over 30 years. However, the landscape of retirement planning isn't just about numbers. It's about personal circumstances too. Your health, lifestyle, and whether you plan to leave a legacy or burn through your savings like there's no tomorrow all play into how much you should withdraw. The bottom line, the 4% rule isn't your retirement GPS anymore. It's more like a historical map that needs updating with modern landmarks. It's a starting point for discussion, not the final word. Financial advice is now leaning towards personalized strategies where flexibility and adaptability are key. So while the 4% rule might not be the beacon of retirement planning it once was, it's not completely lost in the woods either. It's a part of the conversation, a piece of the puzzle that when combined with contemporary financial planning tools and advice can still guide you toward that happy ever after of retirement. But remember, just like in any good story, the moral is adapt, adjust, and always keep an eye on the horizon, because in the land of retirement, nothing is set in stone.